have finished placing our domestic pipes, identifying their interferences and fixing them, we're going to continue by placing the equipment. As you can see, one equipment that we need to place here is the electric water heater. So now let's go look around Revit for any families that are related to this plumbing equipment. First, I'm going to go up to the Insert tab, then I'm going to click Load Family. And we're working with metric units, so we're going to go back a folder, then into English, then US. Then we're going to open the plumbing folder, MEP. And as you might remember, we would go in the fixtures folder for the toilets, lavatories, and stuff like that. But this time we're going to go into the equipment folder. And lastly, we have this water heaters. So once we go inside this folder, we can find this water heater tankless and another water heater which has a tank and it's also standing. So first we're going to check the first one to see whether it's what we need or not. So select and click Open. Now, in order to place this equipment, I'm going to go over to the Systems tab, and then we're going to find this command under the name Plumbing Equipment. This command was added to Revit in version 2023. So in case you are working with an older version, I'm going to open this 2022 version. As you can see up here in the Systems tab, we don't have any command under the name Plumbing Equipment. So what can we do here? In order to place our equipment in the project, we could just use this mechanical equipment command. So basically what's been added and done to the 2023 version is that the developers have separated this mechanical equipment from this plumbing equipment command. That has left us with two different commands now, but still in the older versions, even though we don't have the plumbing equipment command, we can still use this mechanical equipment, meaning that we would go to the Insert tab, then click Load Family. Let's not forget we're working with metric, English, then plumbing, MEP, equipment, then water heaters. So we can load families the same way, Open. But if we want to use and place that equipment, we're going to go to the Systems tab, then Mechanical Equipment. And then you'll be able to place exactly what you've selected. All right, let's go back to version 2023, Systems tab, then Plumbing Equipment. Now, if we take a look here, you will see the water heater has been selected, and here's its capacity, 2.3 liters. After we select our fitting, we will see up here in the ribbon that this equipment is a hosted one. So we could either place it on vertical face, which then the equipment would be placed on the wall. It'll be placed at which elevation from the level? It's 1.5 meters by default, so I'm just going to keep it. Now I'm going to go over here, and if I click on a wall, it'll be placed on it. Let's press Escape and create a section over it so we can take a closer look. We're going to put a section here and minimize it a little bit. Right-click and go to View. All right, now as you can see, this is the electric water heater, which has been placed on the wall, accessible for us for later use. Now let's take a closer look to see what it has. Here we have the in and out water pipes. And then we also have the electrical appliance. And in case we needed an outlet for connecting to our heating system, we could use this. And then if we take a look up here, we will find this exhaust duct out. This exhaust duct comes with this equipment. So judging from that, we can say that this might not be quite an electrical equipment, since it has an exhaust outlet, indicates that we're going to be burning a fuel and we're going to be needing to exhaust and discharge the smoke that's going to result from it. So it's kind of like the radiators we have at home, or for example, the water heaters. This equipment right here is not an electrical one, as in it might run on gas. So despite the fact that this water heater did not come useful for us, it might be useful in some other project. So for now, I'm going to delete it, since we couldn't find any electric water heater here in Revit. So what should we do? We're going to have to download it. I'm going to go to the BIM object website, and up here in the search bar, I'm going to type in electrical water heater. Press enter. And then as you can see, we have this result of these water heaters with their tanks, and we want to find the one that suits our project the best. So I'm going to browse a little bit. And if you remember, we weren't given any details on this equipment in the plan. But if we were given any details on the equipment, then we could have found the one that matched our project perfectly. But for now, I feel like we could use this one. So I'm going to open it. Then I'm going to click download. And as you can see here, we have two files. One is RFA and the other is text. But we're just going to download this RFA one. Now I'm going to go back to Revit, go to the Insert tab, then Load Family. Then I'm going to select the downloaded file, and I'm going to open it. Now you see that it's upgrading it from version 2015 to 2023. All right, so I'm going to go back here to the plan, and then I'm going to go up to the Systems tab. And first, let me tell you that this file that we just downloaded, we're not sure if its developer has created it under plumbing equipment or mechanical equipment. But since it's coming from an older version, it was upgrading it from version 2015, it's most probably of the mechanical equipment. But we could very easily go and check in the place component. And here we can find the answer to our question. And yes, we've guessed it right. It's the mechanical equipment. All right, so this family is not hosted. It's a free one. So we're going to have to specify its elevation from the level. Here, I'm just going to type in that number 1500, and then we're going to have to see where we're going to place it. I'm going to make a click, and then I'm going to check whether I've placed it properly or not. Okay, so as you can see, some explanations come with this family. So if I select it, here in the properties window, we can find some things related to it. This warning label, if we uncheck it, then that text would disappear. Or we have another thing here, show minimum clearance, which is referring to the space that's needed around this family or this object where some other things need to be added to it later or for future maintenance. But we're just going to uncheck that as well. And then we also have another thing, show recommended clearance. And it's almost the same thing as the one before, but we're going to uncheck this one too. Okay, so after we did that, it became clearer to us that this part of the equipment needs to be placed on the wall. So can we rotate it with the space bar? Yes. Now I'm going to zoom in and move this a little bit to make sure it's exactly on the edge of the wall. Now let's take a look at it in this section. Go to View, and it's been placed properly. Now, as you can see, we have water pipes in and out, and there's actually two in pipes. And up here we can see an outlet, which has been added to the equipment to control the overflow. Now I'm going to select this whole thing so we can take a look at them in 3D. And here we are. In order to have a better view in 3D, I could just press VV, go to Revit Links, uncheck Underlay, then click OK. Okay, so let me just take this and minimize the section a little more. And now we can see this water heater that's been placed on the wall. Let me extend it from the side, and there it is. Now you can also see its capacity better, and this is the equipment that we downloaded and placed. Okay, so now in order to connect this to the cold and hot water pipes, I'm going to go over here, and then I'm going to take these pipes and move them a little higher and bring them closer to the center of the equipment. Now I'm going to go over here, right-click and draw pipe, and then I'm going to go forward into the wall, and then I'm going to go down vertically, down to the elevation. For example, I'm going to give it 1200, and then we're going to click somewhere outside the wall, then press Escape. Now the same thing here, right-click and draw pipe, and then I'm going to go forward into the wall, and then I'm going to go down to elevation 1200. Then I'm going to go here, click on the axis of this pipe, then press Escape. Now let's go take a look in 3D. And now you can see these pipes that are sticking out of the wall. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to connect these pipes to the connectors of this water heater. If we take a look at them from this angle, we're going to see and memorize that the one on the right is for cold water and the one on the left is for the hot water. So I could just connect these together by using flexible pipes. We go to the Systems tab, and then I'm going to click on the Flex Pipe command, and then we're going to check the diameters. If you take a closer look, you'll notice that the diameters of the connectors, as you can see, it's giving us 19.1. So let's go double check in the plan. We're going to zoom in, and as you can see, it says 19.1 for the outlets. Now, while I'm here, I'm going to go to the edit type to see if I can edit the numbers. And yes, here we have the water outlet diameter. I'm going to change this to 20 millimeters or the 3/4. Then click OK. And now the diameters have changed to 20. So now let's go back to 3D and then go to the Systems tab, Flex Pipe, and the pipe system type is going to be domestic cold water or DCW. And with diameter 20 millimeters, then we're going to go over here and click once on the axis of this pipe. And then we're going to go over here to the outlet and make another click there. So there goes one of them. And you might also notice that this transition was added. So I could either move this flexible pipe around a little bit to make it more proper, or I could just change its diameter to 32. That way the transition would be relocated to up here. Now for the hot water outlet, we're going to go to the Systems tab, then Flex Pipe. And this time we're going to set the system type on domestic hot water with diameter 32. Then we're going to click here. And then we're going to go up here. Let's rotate a little and click here. But now the thing is that these two pipes are crossing one another. So in order to move them and relocate them a little bit, I'm going to select this flexible cold water pipe, right click on it and insert vertex. And then I'm going to put a vertex here by clicking. And then I'm going to use this vertex in order to move my flexible pipe easier. What this vertex does is it gives more flexibility to our flexible pipe so we can move it easier and fix the interferences. Now, things like the elevations of the pipes that are going to stick out of the wall, elevation of the tank, all that stuff should be mentioned in the detail given to us so we could readjust all of these things accordingly. Now, if we go take a look in the plan, we will see that the pipes have been connected. Something like that in Revit by ourselves, so we could use and place it when we are modeling the domestic pipes. So I'm going to click on the File tab, then New, then I'm going to click Family, and then I'm going to go over to the English folder. And over there, I'm going to look for the metric generic model file, which would be the proper template for us to model the valve in. So select metric generic model, then click Open. Now, in order to create a category for this model I've opened, I'm going to go over to the first tab, the Create tab, and then I'm going to click Family, Category, and Parameters. And then in the window that appears, first I'm going to check in the filter list to make sure that piping is checked. After that, I'm going to go over to the Pipe Accessories. And after that, I'm going to go down here and set the part type on Valve Breaks Into. So that means that this new family would be a pipe accessory, and it is of the valve type. So now click OK. Now if I model this family and load it into my project, I can find it under the Pipe Accessories category. But for now, I'm going to have to define some parameters for it, so I could model my valve based on those parameters and the numbers and information I'm going to give to them. Let's take another look at the pictures and talk about the parts. You see, first, this part right here, I'm going to call it the valve's body, which has a diameter as well as a length. So in order to organize the parameters I need, first I'm going to open a Word file right here. I'm going to write down my parameters now. We're going to be needing a parameter under the name body length. And the next one is going to be body nominal diameter, which makes it the diameter of this in end of it. And then we also need body OD. This is the outer diameter or the diameter of what's going to connect to it. So these three parameters were only for this part. Now for this outlet part of the valve, we're going to be needing the following parameters. So I'm going to type in out nominal diameter, which makes it the diameter of this outer side of the valve. And also, do you see this nut which has a bigger diameter? For that, we're going to define out OD. We're going to also need a length for this part. So for that, I'm going to type in out length. So this is going to be the length of the valve's outlet. So those were the 3 parameters we needed for here. And now let's talk about this inlet part where we can see the handle, which we're going to be modeling separately in a different family. So we're not going to need parameters for that here. But the small outlet of the valve, we're going to need that and give that parameters as well. So I'm going to type in handle diameter for the handle, and then another parameter, we're going to name it handle length. We're just going to add that one for the small part that's coming out of the valve. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to define these parameters in Revit. So we're going to go over here and minimize the window a bit. Then I'm going to open my work file and put it right here. So I could see the parameters and read it at the same time, and I could define the parameters easily. All right, now up here in the first tab, I'm going to click Family Types. And then in the window that appears, I'm going to go over here and click New Parameter. And I'm going to put a name for this new parameter, which I'm about to make. So first, body length. We want its type to be length. Group dimensions, type checked. Then click OK. I'm going to click New Parameter again. And I'm going to name the next one Body Nominal Dia. Now I'm also going to put it under Discipline Piping, and for its type pipe size, then click OK. We're going to be needing another parameter called Body OD. This one's Discipline also Piping, and for its type, we're going to select pipe size, then click OK. Now let's enter the values. For the body length, I'm going to put in 50 millimeters or 5 centimeters. Then for the nominal diameter, which is the diameter of the entry, we're going to be needing 2 sizes, 16 and 20, but for now I'm going to put in 16. After that, for body OD, I'm going to write a formula. So I'll copy this, Control C, that I'm going to say body OD equals body nominal diameter plus 4 millimeters. So that means that the OD of my valve needs to be 4 millimeters bigger than the nominal diameter. It's going to calculate automatically and get it 20. I'm going to click New Parameter again to add the parameters of the outlet. The first one was going to be out nominal dia. This one's Discipline also Piping. And for its type, I'm going to select pipe size. Then click OK. And let's add another parameter and name it out OD. This one also Discipline Piping, and type pipe size. Then click OK. Now the next parameter is going to be out length. Now click OK. We want the out length to be 1 centimeter, so 10. And then out nominal diameter could have any number, but I'm just going to give it 16. And then for the next one, which is out OD, I'm going to put in a formula. So I'm going to copy this one, Control C, then I'm going to put it here, plus 4 millimeters. This one also added 4 to the nominal diameter. So there go the other 3. We need 2 more, so new parameter. And I'm going to name this one handle dia. And this one's type, also length, click OK. And last but not least, we're going to have handle length. This one also common length, then click OK. Now for the handle dia, we're going to put in number 12. And then for the handle length, I'm going to copy body nominal dia and put it here. Divide it by 2, which makes it the radius. And then plus 10 millimeters. It might have been better if we had put a formula like that for out length, as in, I'm just going to go over here and take this whole thing, Control C, then paste it down here, Control V. So now that means that the handle length and out length have the same value, equaling this number. So let's click OK. Now that we've defined our parameters, we can start modeling, and we will become more familiar with these parameters and you'll know what they are. So first I'm going to be drawing the length of my valve right around here. And the circle which I'm going to draw for it as the inlet would be on this side. So let's view this whole thing from the left or right. I'm just going to click right, then go up to the first tab and get the extrusion command. Then I'm going to select circle and go over here, click, draw a circle, and press escape. Then I'm going to select my circle and check center mark visible so we can see its center. Then I'm going to get the align command, then click on this axis as the base, then click on the center of the circle, then lock them together. Then click on this axis and the center of the circle and lock them together. And now we have put our circle exactly at the center. Now I'm going to go to the annotate tab and use the diameter command. Then I'm going to click and click to check its diameter. Now to have a better view on things, I'm going to change my scale level to 1.5, which then the number would look smaller and we can see everything else better. Now I'll select this diameter and then I'm going to go up to the ribbon to label it. And if you remember, this was the body OD, so select. Now the question is, how much do we want to extrude this circle? We're going to go to the extrusion end, and then we're going to make that compatible with the body length. Now click OK, and click on the green check mark. Then we go take a look in the reference level view, and this is our model so far. We could also take a look at it in 3D, and here it is. Now let's go back to the reference level. If I wanted this to be right in the middle, I would have had to extrude it on both ends. This means that right now the extrusion starts from 0 to 50, but I would have had to make this formula none, then click OK. If I had started the extrusion at -25 and the extrusion end 25, this is how it would have turned out. Or there's something else I could have done. I could just go to the first tab, then get a reference plane, and then click here, then click again. And also on this side, click and click, then press escape. And then I could use a line dimension. One click here, another one here, third one here, and the fourth click somewhere empty. And then I would click on this EQ with the red strike in order to equalize both these lengths together. And then I could measure the distance between these two, and then select this measuring line, and then label it body length. Now to have a better view, I could change the scale level to 1, 2. Also, I could just bring this measuring line higher. Okay, so now here's the thing. This body length actually has nothing to do with the extrusion amount, as in if I go over to the parameters and then change the body length, for example, from 50 to 70, click OK. Do you see how it didn't change? But I could use this clip and drag, and once it's at the reference plane, I could click on this lock to lock it. Same thing for this side, drag and lock. Now, if I go over to the family types again, and then change this number back to 50, click OK. Now they've become compatible and coordinated. So now let's try and model the outlet. I'm going to go to the first tab, click on the extrusion command, and then draw a circle right over here, then press escape. Now I'm going to select the circle and check center mark visible so we can see its center. Now align AL, click on the axis, then the center, then lock it. And then I'm going to try to take the circle and drag it closer here. But since we've moved it around, we got an error saying that there was a constraint. The center of the circle was aligned with this axis, but what we just did was against that constraint. So let's cancel it. Click to select the circle, then use the keyboard to move it to the right. Now we're going to use align dimension to measure the distance between this edge and this axis of the circle. Now, what do we want to label this number? Let's say that, for example, we want this distance to be quarter of the length. So let's go over to the parameters and then add a new one. And then we're going to name it quarter body length. Then click OK. Then copy the body length, Control C, and paste it down here, Control V. Divide it by 4. It's going to calculate automatically, so click OK. Now select the measuring line and then label it or make it compatible with quarter body length. And there we go. Now what about its radius? I'm going to go to the Annotate tab and use diameter to measure the diameter. And since we already have a parameter for it, we're going to label it out nominal diameter. Now that we've labeled it, we're going to have to extrude it. But by how much? We're going to make the extrusion end compatible with which parameter? It's going to be out length. Then click OK. Then click on the green check mark. And now if we take a look at 3D, we can see how the outlet turned out. Now I could just go up here and click on join to join this with this body. Now do you see the joined edges? Let me hit Ctrl+Z. Do you see what they look like unjoined? But if I click join from the modify tab, I could join the outlet with the body of the valve. Now let's go back here to the reference level. Now I'm going to want this top side to be my work plane. Up to now, my work plane has been the surface of this circle, but now I want to change my work plane to the topper side. So I'm going to go back to my reference level, go to the first tab, then click on the set command. Then I'm going to pick a plane, click OK, and then I'm going to pick this surface. Now we're viewing this vertically from the top. So I'm going to get the extrusion command again, and then I'm going to draw a circle. I'll just try it right here. And then I'm going to select it, check center mark. Then I'm going to align this axis with the center of the circle, and then lock them together. Then I'm going to select the circle and move it to the right. Then I'll get a line dimension and measure the center of the circle up to the edge. And then I'm going to label this distance, once again, quarter body length. What about its diameter? I'm going to go to the Annotate tab, click diameter, then measure the diameter of the circle. Then I'm going to select the diameter. Then I'm going to label it or make it compatible with parameter out OD. Now, by how much do we want to extrude this? 10 millimeters or 1 centimeter. Then click on the green check mark. Now, if we look in 3D, this is how our family turned out. Let's check those pictures again. There's one outlet, there's the other, and the body of the valve. We're going to try to model the handle. So first, we're going to go over to the reference level view. And right now, I want to be able to view this whole thing from the front. I want to model the handle right over here so we can view it on this side. So to begin, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open the reference level. And after that, I'm going to go over to the Create tab, click on the Extrusion command, and I'm going to draw a circle. So I'm going to zoom in, click, and press Escape. Then I'm going to select the circle and check Center Mark Visible. Then I'm going to align this axis with the center of a circle and lock them. And then I'm going to use Align Dimension to measure the distance between the center of the circle and the edge of the family. And then I'm going to select this distance and label it quarter body length. Now let's see what the diameter of the circle is. First, we're going to go to the Annotate tab, click Diameter, and check the diameter of the circle. Then we're going to select the diameter and label it or make it compatible with handle via. Now let's check the extrusion. First, we're going to view from the front. But first of all, the work plane is wrong. It's this line. But I wanted to draw on this plane instead. But it's all right. We're going to edit it later. Now I'm going to keep this number for the extrusion, then click on the green check mark to confirm. And before I edit my work plane, I'm going to go to the first tab. Then I'm going to draw a reference plane right here. Click, click. After that, I'm going to use Align Dimension to measure the distance between these two. Also, I'm going to change my scale level to 1.5. And then I'm going to select this distance and label it or make it compatible with handle length because we're going to want our handle to be this long. Now we're going to select this. And first, we're going to edit work plane by picking a plane, then click OK. And now we're going to pick our plane, which we said was supposed to be this. Now for the extrusion, we're going to take this clip and drag it along here, and then we're going to lock it. Now let's go check in 3D, and this is what we have now. I could also use the join command to join the body with the handle we just drew, like so. Now let's try to save it at this point by going to File, Save as Family. Then we're going to open the folder we were working in. We're going to go over here to the desktop, WC project. And then I'm going to name this family valve. Also in the options, I'm going to set the maximum backups on 1 and then click OK. And finally, I'm going to save it. Now I'm going to click on this close inactive views to close the extra views we're not working on. And now I'm going to want to model that small handle as a different family. So first I'm going to go to the File tab, click New Family, and then I'm going to go over to the English folder, then select Metric Generic Model, and I'm going to open it. Now I'm going to click Extrusion to open its tab, select Circle, and I'm going to draw one right here. Click, click. Now you remember the diameter of the handle was 12, so for the radius of this circle, I'm going to give it 8. Diameter 12, radius 8, because I'm going to want this one to be a little bit bigger, so I'm going to give it a higher number. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my shape to this rectangle, and I'm going to draw a rectangle right here. This is going to be the part by which we're going to grab the handle. Now I'm going to get a line dimension to measure the distance from here to here and here, then click somewhere empty, and we're going to make them equal. We want this to be right in the middle. Now we're going to measure this edge to this axis. And then to have a better view, I'm going to change my scale level to 1.5. Now I'm going to select this distance and give it the number 15. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the extra parts like this line, delete. And after that, I'm going to use the split command. Then I'm going to click here on the circle. And then I'm going to use trim to trim this with this and this line with this. Now I'm going to extrude this whole thing by 8 millimeters. Then click the green check mark. And now if we take a look at it in 3D, we can see what we have now as the handle of our valve. Now I'm going to save this one as well, going to the File tab, Save As Family, and then I'm going to name this one Valve Handle. Then click Save. Now I'm going to load this into Project and Close, and we're going to load it into the Valve family, then click OK. Now I'm going to try to use this on the family, but first I'm going to press Escape, and then I'm going to extend my project browser window. Now I'm going to open my reference level view, and here we are. I'm going to go to the first tab, then click on the component command, and then here in the properties window, I can see my family. Now I'm going to go over to my family and click around here to place my handle. Now I'm going to align AL, align this axis with the center and lock them together. And now I'm going to use the line dimension to measure the distance between this line and the center right here. Now I'm going to label this distance quarter body length. Now it's been adjusted. Now let's try to view this from the front. So I can also adjust its elevation. Do you see where it is right now? It's not right. So I'm going to use the align command to align this plane down here with the upper edge of the handle, then lock them together. Now if we go take a look at them in 3D, we can see our handle is now in the right place. Actually, to have an even better view, I'm going to go over here and open my parameters. And then I'm going to change the formula of my handle length from 10 to 5, then click OK. Do you see how the handle got shorter and looks better now? Now, something else we can do is we could select this handle and edit family. And then we could just change its extrusion end from 9 millimeters to something less, like, for example, 5 millimeters. And now we are asked if we want to replace it. Yes. Then load into the project and close. Select File, then click OK. Now if we overwrite the existing version, we can see how the extrusion end of the handle has changed to 5 millimeters.